I showed up. Okay, that has got to count for something. So if you've been on any of my social media or if you've been watching my YouTube channel, you know that I had no content out for a whole week, and that's because I am having a mental breakdown. And now it is manifesting as physical symptoms. All I want to do when I'm in one of these moods is to paint and to paint people's faces, and that's exactly what I've done. So I figured our bullet journal theme for August is portraits, is watercolor paintings. That's it. And I got a couple of comments asking, and I would totally have to agree with you that this isn't really a bullet journal anymore. It's just a planner, an artistic planner. But I want to call it a bullet journal because I like it. I like the term, and that's what we're going to call it. Okay, so as usual, if you haven't subscribed, then hit that subscribe down below so you don't miss future videos whenever they come up. And without much further ado, let's just jump into this plan with me. So, as with every other plan with me, I've already pre-painted the portraits and pages. That's an alliteration. Welcome to English 101. Just to save us all time. But here you'll see me gluing in the actual paintings. I used a different pad of watercolor paper. Well, technically it's acrylic paper, but it serves our purpose. The paper in my journal, while denser than most notebook papers, is still not heavy enough for the kind of layering and blending that these portraits needed. So, what I've done is painted the faces on a different sheet of paper and then cut them down and stuck them in. I've also added a smoky slash wavy element to each of these just to create some interesting shapes. For the fonts this month, I'm using a script font paired with an all caps block font. Plus, given my mental state at the moment, I've decided to cut down on a lot of spreads simply because it's too exhausting to do the whole bullet journal process right now. So, this month you will see me economize on my setup so that we still have the same amount of productivity, just with fewer spreads. As you can see right now, I've also arranged the spreads to have one cover page with just the portrait and the title, and a second page with all the matter on it. For the second page, I've tried to use the same colors as its neighboring cover page and kept that wavy theme in and around the actual text. So the first spread is actually pretty simple in its content, just an August calendar and a simple list of goals for this month. Plus, I added a little motivational sentence, conquer from within. I think it's exactly the kind of words I really need right now. The inner work is always key to better outer work, so that's exactly what I'm going to be focusing on this month. Next, we've got the tracker. Now, like I said before, I'm really trying to budget these spreads this month. So instead of the weekly trackers like we had last month, this time I'm going to keep it all in one place and just have a traditional one-page tracker. As always, I'm going to track my meds, some habits, and my sleep. And as you watch me plan this, I just want to talk really quickly about gratitude because I do get a few questions about it. So, personally, I really believe in the power of showing gratitude. It doesn't matter if you're grateful for what you have, what you love, or even aspects of who you are. Gratitude is the one practice that always helps me deal with anything and everything life throws at me. And the way I practice gratitude is by simply taking a couple of minutes before bed to meditate. And when I'm fully relaxed, I begin to just list out things from the day that I'm grateful for. It doesn't have to be huge things. You could just be grateful for sunshine or your pet, or even just for all the things you managed to get done that day. I find that going to bed with a grateful mindset really helps me sleep a lot better and wake up with a much more positive attitude towards each new day. So, yeah, definitely give this a go. Alrighty, the next spread we have is the think tank. This one is pretty straightforward, and if you've watched any of my other Plan With Me's that I've shared on here, you know it's basically just a brain dump page. Personally, I really love how this one turned out best because the colors are so pretty, and also because this is one of the very few male faces I've painted that actually turned out decent. But as with the other spreads this month, I'm picking the same colors as the portrait, in this case peach and blue, and extending them to the opposite page. I like to keep my think tank pages completely empty and unstructured because that allows me to think more freely. So those wavy lines on there are purely for design purposes only. I like being extra, but you already knew that. And for our final spread for this video, we have the first weekly spread for August. Now, there's one thing I haven't mentioned yet, and that is the little pot with bits of paper in it. I'd honestly just kept it there to collect all of the scrap paper from when I cut up portraits and stick them in, but I don't know what prompted me to keep them. Well, I guess future Srish sent past Srish some strong vibes because guess who messed up while setting up this page?
Bruh.
So as you can see, I just pretty much grabbed a scrap piece of paper and stuck it over the mistake and pretended it didn't happen. For the actual layout, keep in mind, I'm trying to crunch multiple spreads into one. If you've been following my Instagram, which is my main platform, and you should be following me on there, you know that I like my daily pages in the form of a timeline. So, in the weekly spread, you'll see me combining 6 different weekly pages into one table. Each row has spaces for 3 days, and each row shares a common timeline on the left. I've also added a small goals table up top. Here, I want to give a quick shout out to Iris, whose Insta is on the screen right now, who so kindly reminded me of the power of small goals while dealing with a depressive episode. So, this month I'm going to set small but achievable goals each week just so I have some direction and focus while I wait for this episode to pass by. And with all of that said, let's now move on to the final flip through. Just a quick reminder once again that I will be sharing these and future spreads over on my Instagram this month, as well as the finished art from each spread with all of the bells and whistles. So please make sure you're following me on there and maybe have notifications turned on as well so you can see all the other portraits that I paint this month. And there you go. I hope you've enjoyed this. I know this was more of a scrapbook kind of plan with me, but if you have enjoyed this, please leave this video a big thumbs up and leave me a comment below telling me what your August theme is because I really want to know. Alright, you guys, thank you so much for spending some time with me today. You know I love spending time with you, and I will see you again on my next video. I'm not going to promise you next week because I don't know how my brain is going to function, but I will see you on my next video. Okay, guys, bye.